Well, hello guys. I'm going to do a real short one here. I'm sat here and just basing the miniatures, making a right mess, paint all over my hands, paint all over the table. But I'm actually, while I'm doing it, I'm thinking there's one or two things here where you potentially could make a mess of your figure. So I'm just going to do a quick video about one or two hints and tips while we're doing our turning our Tyranids black. So first of all, you can see there's a mess on the base there. It's all sticking over the edge. Don't really like that, like a nice tidy base. So what you can do is you can either literally just grab the bits and pull them off, or get a pair of scissors and just trim them, whichever you fancy, or a combination of the two. Just so long as you try and create a nice edge to your base, it's nice and tidy, and we don't have any bits sticking over the edge. Okay, try not to amputate any of the model. If you look across the base as well, and just check that there's nothing that's sticking up into the model, so as you paint, that's going to cause a problem as well. One little bit over here. And then get your brush, and then any debris that's stuck to your model, just dust it out, because all that'll do is make a rough surface when you get it to paint, because it'll just stick straight to it. And we're going to do a quick two-step process. Trim there. Okay, that's nice and tidy. And the first thing we're going to do is paint the model. So I'm doing nothing exciting here. I'm using Vallejo black. There you go. So not a proper primer, nothing sophisticated like that. Nothing as expensive as that on this channel, I'm afraid. Just basic old black. And it works fine. Trust me, once these guys look a bit shiny, but that's because I've only just painted them. Once this stuff sets and it's dry, you get a nice matte black finish, and it acts as an excellent base coat. So don't worry about that. Right, so let's get on with painting the miniature. So quick hints and tips. Things to remember. When you're doing armour plates, stroke the armour plate in a single direction downhill ideally. Just touch under the plates and then re-stroke it so that it's directional. Then when you actually come to painting your model, you've set the direction on the armour plates. If you're doing cross strokes, when it dries, you'll have very slight minor cross strokes in there, and it will alter the way that your paint looks on your model. So that's just one thing. So we're trying to go with the armour plates. If there's an edge, you'll tend to go across them and miss them, so strike across to actually catch the plate and then realign your paint into that alignment. Obviously, other things like just jabbing your brush right into the grooves, making sure it goes everywhere. Now, it doesn't matter how much you initially apply, too much, so long as what you do is you remember that you take it out of the grooves, out of the deep recesses, and then you redistribute your paint so it's a nice thin layer. Because when it comes to doing the detail later, if you've got an eyeful or a mouthful of paint, that's going to be completely impossible to paint. So spread your paint, realign your armour plates. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go around the rest here, and then I'll jump to the next section. So this is going to be a little bit of a jump next. Oh, let's catch the focus again so that you can. Oh, sorry. Come on, camera, play with me. There we go. So it's hard for it to focus because it's obviously getting black now, but there's nothing exciting going on here. It is literally that the miniature's going black. I'm not quite sure why it's struggling there. That's better. Why it's struggling to focus quite so much. There we are. Right, this is meant to be quick, so I'm going to stop there, move on. Just as an additional note, obviously people might be painting all the different creatures, all the different races or space marines, whatever. So if you've decided that actually you want some texture on the armour, or it could even be that your Tyranids you want some texture on, this will be the time to start getting those first layers in there. So if it is that you want some texture, then rather than stroking and making sure the armour plates look nice and flush, then you can start to stipple on them and just get your paint, it's wet, and just dab, 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 dab. And because you've got different points on the brush giving different points of contact and different drops of paint, as you stipple, then it will actually give you some texture once it's dry. So that's another little beginning technique. So if you're wanting texture, may as well start from the beginning and get some on there straight away. I'll stop there and move on to the next stage. Okay, so now I've got most of the figure black. Oh, just missed a little bit there, so let's just touch that up. A little strike in there, and then smooth the tail out again. Just have a quick look around, make sure I've not missed any bits. Smooth the armour plates as I go if I touch them. A little bit under there. Stroke that off. Now, one of the things I've done is I've stayed away from the base for two reasons. One, I don't want to contaminate the figure with the debris that's on the base, because it's easy to move it when you're at this stage and actually end up with it on the figure, and that'll make the armour look very scruffy. And two, I actually want to seal it better to the base so that it doesn't peel up or flake off, whatever. So very simple, very straightforward. So back to the good old PVA wood glue. Doesn't matter what brand you buy, but you just want a dollop of it in there. Okay, so there we have, nice dollop of PVA glue inside there. It's definitely PVA glue, not anything else. Okay, and now a bit of black paint. Ooh, this one's getting a bit light, and this one's getting very light. Okay, I think that's in fact run out. So I'll turn that upside down and leave it in my paint stand to get the maximum amount out of it that I can. And then we'll go to a fresh pot, because I tend to keep 4 or 5 of them on the side. And what we'll do is we'll just gollop some black paint into there. And again, it's nothing exciting. It is just the Vallejo standard black paint, nothing exciting again. And that's just normal PVA glue from an art shop. A little bit of water on my brush, and then just mix the two in together. And then as the PVA sets with the paint on board, and just wipe it off your brush. That's far too loaded. That's just going to make a huge mess on the base. A bit more water on the brush. And this will start to dry as you're processing it. If they get a bit of debris in there, it doesn't matter, because we've already separated painting the miniature from painting the base. Doesn't matter whether or not you let it dry, or the figure itself dry or not. I tend to paint the rocks first, so I don't contaminate them too much with the debris on the base, because I want the rocks to stand out, because I'm going to paint those separately later. And then if your rocks do have like an underside, sometimes you can see, I don't know, like under his hoof here. I don't know if it's going to focus that close, but you can, you can, under his hoof there is a little bit of green showing from the green stuff. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to make sure I ram the brush into that gap and ram the brush into there. So, and the same under any stones where I can see green stuff, I hold it level so I can see under. Nothing worse than you finish painting your model, and then as you're looking around it you think, oh god, I've left some green stuff showing. I'm starting to get quite a contaminated brush now. Okay, so into the water, give it a good scrub, wipe it off on some tissue, and then just blob away again, and then back onto the base. We're going to cover that as well as we can, and because it's cork in this Komodo substrate, it will take quite a bit of paint, so another reason to put a lot of water on, to give you some movement in the substrate on the base, so that it actually does coat it and soak into it. Just increases your drying time a little bit. Oh, got a little bit on the blade there, wipe that off. And we're going to go around the base. Okay, so we're nearly done. Let's hurry up and get this done. So I said this would be a short one. But I was sat here doing it, and I thought, actually, there is quite a few ways here you can mess your miniature up. Maybe it's worth doing a little quick vid and covering those issues. So there we go. There's his base. We've got plenty of black all over there. We're just going to have to be patient now and wait for that to dry. And then the other thing is that you'll see that, well, you'll see when you're doing it yourself. But what you can see is around the base there, I've caught the edges. Now as that dries, what's going to happen is I'm going to have an awful looking edge to my base, and it's all about the finish, it's about the presentation. So I get a bit of paint that's nice and clear of debris, and I smooth the base off before I finish. And all the way around. And then once, and this is why the table looks so messy, is once you get to the end, there will be where your fingers were, please don't paint while your fingers are on, because all you'll end up with is thumbprints on your base. So leave those little gaps spare, and then just go around your base, cleaning off any debris that's decided to try and cling to the edge of the base. One reason why it's quite important to leave your table clean, so what we will do is give it a wipe, make sure there's no debris where we're actually doing our painting, and then just go around the edge of the base, tidy it all up, so that once it's all dry, it's a nice smooth finish on the edge of the base. Just glancing around the miniature to make sure I've not shoved any debris onto the miniature either. Nice job done. Ready for painting in a few hours time. A very good tip now is please, please, please leave your black to cure for at least 12 hours. What will happen is, if it's still wet when you start painting, is that your colours will desaturate because the paint's still wet, and it will seep into the paints that you're now painting. So that base coat must be hard. So unfortunately, yet again, I'm telling you to be patient when you're painting. I know there's slap chop now, there's speed painting, there's, you know, banging the figures on the table quick. But actually, some of this you've got to be patient with, or else all you do is you make a mess of your painting. So please do let your black harden off, dry properly, give it 12-24 hours, and then you can paint to your heart's content, and the next video will be painting and showing you a few different colour schemes. Right, I'm going to leave it there. I said it would be quick. Catch you soon. And what do we say here at Darkstorm Rising? Are we painting yet? Hell yeah! Catch you in the next video, guys. Really looking forward to it. Did this one really quick because I just thought there was a few nice tips there. I'm going to clear off now. Enjoy the rest of your day.